Hello everyone and welcome to the ninth part of our topic on Strength 4.2. Now in this topic we are going to study some very interesting organic compounds which are widespread in nature such as carboxylic acids. Now if you have ever tasted vinegar or have experienced ant bites, what do you think is common in all? Well, the answer lies in the chemical composition of these substances. Both of them owe their properties due to the effect of carboxylic acids. Vinegar contains ethanoic acid, while ants, when they bite, they inject methanoic acid in the bloodstream, which causes the itchiness. On the other hand, when we look at all the fruits that are out there in nature, they all contain carboxylic acid. Like citrus fruits, they contain citric acid. Apples contain malic acid and so forth. Moreover, the smell of ruminant animals as well as sweat is due to the property of butanoic acid. That is why it is very clearly distinguished. Sour milk also contains carboxylic acid in the form of lactic acid. So let's explore the different properties of these carboxylic acids and their general chemistry. Carboxylic acids contain the carboxyl group such as this, and their general formula is RCOOH. The two important functional groups that are found in a carboxylic acid they are carbonyl group, which is a C double bond O group, and the hydroxyl group, which is a COH group. These groups are the ones which are responsible in taking part in the chemical reaction, which is why they are known as a functional group. So whenever this carboxylic acid particular group, that is going to change. Now let's see how we are going to name the carboxylic acids. The following are the set of steps we have to follow when we are naming a carboxylic acid. First thing, we must count the longest chain of carbon atom, and this time the longest chain of carbon atom must contain the functional group COOH group. Now this carbon in the COH group should be given the lowest number, which is carbon number 1. Now if you have any particular group associated with the parent chain, that group becomes a branch. And normally when we write the name of the organic compound, we will write the name of the branches in an alphabetical order. Finally, the name of a carboxylic acid will end with anoic acid, and then we'll have to use the prefixes. Like with one carbon, it's meth, so methanoic acid. 2 carbon, it will be eth, so ethanoic acid. 3 will be propanoic acid. 4 will be butanoic acid, and so forth. So let's look at an example now. You have one carbon atom, carboxylic acid, which is written as HCOH. One carbon atom is methanoic acid, formerly known as formic acid. So when we draw the structure, we have a carbon, double bond O, single bond hydrogen, and single bond OH group. This is how the structure of a carboxylic acid should look like. Next example, 2 carbon atoms, so ethanoic acid, or commonly known as acetic acid. So when we are drawing the structure of this, we will have the carbon atoms drawn first, followed by the functional group. Always have this order. Draw your carbon atoms first, then you draw your functional group. So after you've drawn your functional group, the rest of the bond in the carbon will be occupied by the hydrogen atoms. Okay, so that's your ethanoic acid. Then we have a branched carboxylic acid, where you can see that there are 2 functional groups. The functional group is the OH group, which is the hydroxyl group coming from the alcohol, and the second one is the COH group, which is a carbonyl group. Okay, so which of these 2 groups is going to decide the name of this organic compound? That is where we are going to go back to our lesson notes, where we learn the order of precedence of organic molecules. So the one which is bigger and more polar is the one that's going to dominate the naming. And in this case, it is a COOH group which is more polar. So the entire compound falls under carboxylic acid. The OH will then become the branch. So when we are drawing, we will draw the first carbon that is here, bonded to the hydrogen, then it is bonded to the OH. On the left hand side it is bonded to the CH3, and then on the right hand side we have a carbon, double bond O and single bond OH. So when we see that the parent chain must have the COOH group. So our parent chain, let's circle them up. This is what it is. 3 carbon atoms, propanoic acid, OH is a branch, so it is hydroxyl. Position of the OH, so that's carbon number 1, this is carbon number 2, and that's carbon 3. OH is on carbon 2, so the name is 2-hydroxyl propanoic acid, commonly known as lactic acid, that is found in sour milk. Now, just an application of these carboxylic acids, apart from the ones that I gave in the introduction. When we are looking at butanoic acid, which is a 4-carbon acid, it is having a smell which is similar to sweat, which is the reason why a dog can be trained to track people by recognizing the characteristic odor of butanoic acid in the sweat. So that is a very interesting application of chemistry in nature. Now we look at some of the properties of carboxylic acid. Number 1, it has high boiling point. The reason why a carboxylic acid has a high boiling point is because of its ability to form a dimer. A dimer is a molecule which is made of two molecules of the same nature bonded together. So when a dimer forms, it results in a high boiling point. As you can see in this structure here, we have 2 carboxylic acids. So we have carboxylic acid 1 here and carboxylic acid number 2 here. So you can see how a hydrogen bond has actually formed between the H and the O of the other carboxyl group. And this hydrogen bond is a very strong bond, which is why the boiling point is quite high. Okay, so if I have to explain why is the boiling point of carboxylic acid high, is due to the hydrogen bond forming in the dimer. Second property, they are soluble in water because of their ability to form hydrogen bonding with water molecules. So this is the structure of the carboxylic acid. Notice how the oxygen and hydrogen of water are having hydrogen bonds here. Similarly, the oxygen is forming another hydrogen bond with another water molecule. And then here when we look at the hydroxyl group, there is a OH group which also has a possibility of forming a hydrogen bond with the other hydrogen of water. So likewise for this one here. So all these water molecules which are connected to the carboxylic acid, they give rise to a high solubility of ethanoic acid. Let's see how carboxylic acids are formed. From our discussion of alcohols, we learned that alcohols can be oxidized to give carboxylic acid, and this can be possible through this sequence of reactions. A primary alcohol is first oxidized into an aldehyde, which is then oxidized to a carboxylic acid. So if you look at this equation here, you can see how the functional group of an alcohol is changed to OH group in the alcohol. After it is oxidized, it changes into the C double bond H group, which belongs to the aldehyde. This upon oxidation will result in the C double bond O OH group from the carboxylic acid. So that is how the entire oxidation process happens. However, point to be noted that the reaction between aldehyde to carboxylic conversion is very fast, which means during the preparation of carboxylic acid, one must be very careful when we have to separate the aldehyde from the final product. And to do that, the preparation involves a method known as refluxing. So this is a method called refluxing, where volatile substances are prevented from escaping. So if you look at this setup here, we have a water bath where we have the setup filled with our primary alcohol, to which the oxidizing agent, that's acidified, has been added. The condenser is upright, unlike a simple distillation setup where it is inclined. And the reason why the condenser is upright, so that when this primary alcohol becomes aldehyde, that aldehyde doesn't vaporize in the air. The aldehyde is kept trapped in the conical flask or in the round bottom flask until it oxidizes into carboxylic acid. Refluxing basically ensures that all the reactants which are in the round bottom flask are completely reacted to form the product. None of these should remain as unreacted materials. Okay, so that is how you prepare a carboxylic acid. Now, once the carboxylic acid is prepared here, the entire substance is taken out. Okay, the entire of this thing is taken out, and then it is subjected to fractional distillation, where due to the difference in boiling point, all the materials like carboxylic acid, aldehyde, maybe there are some unreacted alcohol, the ethanol and the potassium dichromate are all separated out. So you end up getting pure carboxylic acid. Okay, let's begin with looking at the reactions of carboxylic acid after we study the properties. So the first reaction of carboxylic acid is the reaction of it with metal. Acid reacting with a metal will result in the formation of a salt and hydrogen gas. Now coming to the basic question, why do we say that carboxylic acids are acidic in nature? Why do they have that property? Due to the ability of them to lose a proton. So the proton that is going to be lost by the carboxylic acid comes from the functional group, that is a COOH group. Okay, let's look at an example here now. So we have a CH3, C double bond O and OH. So we have a carboxylic acid reacting with a metal. This is a hydrogen that is going to be lost. So after the hydrogen is lost, that means a negative charge. So we are left with CH3, C double bond O, O minus. Now this O minus cannot be left on its own. The entire structure, this is the one, CH3COO is minus charge. It's an anion. The two carbon atoms in the anion, the prefix is eth. And when we have a carboxylic acid anion, it is called ethanoate ion. The suffix is anoate ion. So now this O minus is going to look for a positive, and that positive is going to be sodium. So one positive was lost, that was hydrogen. Another positive is going to come and replace it. So this H that is lost as H plus will now reduce itself to form hydrogen gas. So we have ethanoic acid and the salt known as sodium ethanoate. And this is how we represent the structure. The next reaction of carboxylic acids that we are going to be looking at is a reaction of the acid with a metal hydroxide, giving you salt and water. This is an example of a neutralization reaction. So we have ethanoic acid with sodium hydroxide to give sodium ethanoate and water. To look at how the reaction has proceeded, it is this hydrogen that has been lost. So when the hydrogen was lost, the sodium came and bonded to the O. Yes, you can see here. The H and the OH will now combine to form water. Then we have acid with a metal carbonate to give you salt, water and carbon dioxide. The sodium ethanoic acid with sodium carbonate giving you sodium ethanoate, water and carbon dioxide. And finally, the last reaction that we will be looking at is a reduction of carboxylic acid. Alcohols, primary alcohol oxidize to give aldehyde, which oxidize to give a carboxylic acid. The reverse of that reaction is known as reduction. So in a reduction reaction, we will use a reducing agent, and one of the strongest reducing agent is known as lithium aluminium tetrahydride. So this propanoic acid is now undergoing a reduction reaction in the presence of lithium aluminium tetrahydride to give you primary alcohol, and the byproduct is water. So when we're looking at the reverse of this reaction, propan-1-ol going back to propanoic acid, we will use an oxidizing agent such as acidified potassium dichromate or acidified potassium permanganate solution. Now, there are a lot of applications of where such neutralization reactions like the ones that is given up here is used in nature. So we will just be looking at one of them. One of the herbs that is usually seen in supermarkets is rhubarb leaves. This is highly poisonous. Okay, the leaves are highly poisonous because they contain oxalic acid, and the acid itself is poisonous because of its toxic nature of the anion that is present there. So if anyone accidentally ingests these rhubarb leaves, what actually happens is they are administered with a base such as magnesium hydroxide. Okay, so in that way the magnesium ion binds with the negative ion in the oxalic acid to give us salt. A very excellent example of neutralization reaction. So students, we have looked at very briefly about carboxylic acid and the other organic compounds. We will be looking at the derivatives of the carboxylic acid in our next discussion. Until then, you take care. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the chemistry forum. Revise your work and bye.